what is this, Lafayette Street? And I was in a car with my female friend, and it was my 2 sons in the back. Keep in mind, this was 4 years ago, so they were, what, 8 and 11? And her daughter, who was a teenager at the time, and I got pulled over by a Fort Wayne police officer. And I actually saw him on the side street before he pulled me over, so I knew I wasn't speeding or changing lanes without a signal and things like that. I was conscious of him being behind me. So he pulls me over, and he asks for my information. And no, he actually went up to the car and he said, "Are you Destiny Howard?" At that moment he said that, I knew he knew who I was. And I said, "Yes, I am." He said, and he asked for my information, gave him all the registration, insurance information and everything. And I'll be honest, at the time I was agitated because I couldn't understand why he was pulling me over, because I wasn't speeding, because I already knew that he was behind me. And
if he asked for your name, he put surveillance on you.
He already knew who I was.
He already knew who you was.
Right. So he proceeded to come back to the car with my information and say, "How long has your license been suspended?" Now keep in mind, I have my kids in the back seat, and I'm not a disrespectful person at all. Now I was agitated to where I didn't make eye contact with him, and I don't know if he took that as being disrespectful, I don't know. But I said, as far as I know, it's not suspended. I'm going to ask you again, how long has your license been suspended? I said, as far as I know, it's not suspended, and I'm not going to sit here in front of my children and tell you a lie because that's something that you want to hear. So we kind of went back and forth, and I kept telling him, I'm not going to say that my license is suspended if I'm not aware that it's suspended. So he said, well, the reason why I pulled you over is because your car is listed on your registration, which it was, as being white and it's black. So when the BMV had sent me back my registration, they had the color of my car wrong. Well, if I'm giving you my insurance card, which has my VIN number, and my driver's license, and you can look on the outside of my car and read my VIN number, why didn't you compare the two? So we went back and forth, and I refused to tell him that my license was suspended. Well, I'm gonna need you to get out the car. He put me in handcuffs, put me in the backseat of his car while he radioed in, act like he radioed in to verify with dispatch or whatever, whether or not. And dispatch finally told him, well, she's fine. She does, her license is, current. It's not suspended. But in the meantime, a fellow officer had pulled up to the side of his vehicle and asked the officer, do you need any help? Is everything okay? Which I'm pretty sure that's customary for them to do. He said, no, she's fine. She's just got an attitude. So when he let me out the car and unhandcuffed me, I demanded that you need to apologize to me and my kids. That was the first interaction that any of my children had actually ever had with a police officer. And I have told them up until this time that you need to respect the police officer, obey the law, be in compliance or whatever. And this is an example that you said, and you don't feel like you have to apologize. And keep in mind, this happened 4 years ago. I still haven't been able to let it go completely. So, I mean, I have experienced some things while I've been here in Fort Wayne. And I've asked my children after that, how did that make you feel? They said, well, Mommy, I don't know. You weren't doing anything wrong. You weren't arguing with them. We were confused of why he did that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking to myself as...
And he finds out that your license is not suspended.
And he didn't feel like he had to apologize. I don't know, but sometimes I suspect that maybe he was disappointed that he pulled me over and that I didn't have any warrants, or you ain't gonna even find no misdemeanor. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I don't know if he pulled me over and thought he was gonna get something out of it. Maybe he thought I was gonna be confrontational, and I handled it differently than he anticipated. I'm not really sure.